Hi and welcome back to our series on language tests for immigrating to Canada. Today we're going to be talking about the CELPIP. Now, in our humble opinion, language tests are hugely overlooked by people wanting to move to Canada and, for reasons we don't understand, are rarely mentioned by so-called experts giving advice. Whether you're looking to come to Canada to work, study or immigrate, you will almost certainly have to take a language test to prove your ability in English or French, even if one of these languages is your mother tongue. There are very few exceptions to this, although the level which you need to achieve varies greatly between programs. Even if you only need to prove a very basic language level, the fact remains that you will still need to take that test.
For study permit, your institution may accept other forms of language assessment, such as Duolingo, for example, but for immigration purposes, there are only 4 language tests available, 2 for English and 2 for French, and we will be covering all of them in this series. During our application process to move to Canada, I took all 4 of these tests, so I have had personal experience of all of them and feel well qualified to talk you through the ins and outs of each one, including how to prepare for them.
If you're planning to take an English test, you may have already heard of the IELTS, which is by far the most popular and frequently taken test, but this is simply because it's more readily available around the world. There is another option for proving your English skills, and that is the CELPIP. This stands for Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program, which, granted, is a bit of a mouthful. In short, it's a Canadian-based English language assessment tool for immigration, citizenship, and professional designation.
The CELPIP has 2 options, the CELPIP General and the CELPIP General LS. The latter only tests listening and speaking skills, LS, and is mainly used for Canadian citizenship applications. If you're looking to immigrate to Canada, the CELPIP General test is the only one you will need. As with any language test for immigration, the CELPIP General will test all 4 competencies, listening, speaking, reading and writing. And all of these will be tested on the same day in one 3-hour sitting.
CELPIP is not available worldwide, only in selected countries, which is the only reason it's taken less frequently than IELTS. It's currently available in the UK, Australia, Korea, Singapore, the UAE, the Philippines, China, India, the USA, and in all major cities in 60 locations across Canada. However, it's worth continually checking their websites as they are always expanding.
So what does the CELPIP General test actually look like? Unlike some other language tests, the entire CELPIP test is done on a computer, including the speaking test. You won't talk to another person from pressing start to finishing the test. You need to have a basic understanding of how to use computers, and will need to be able to type quick enough to write a 200-word answer in around 25 minutes. You will sit in a room with anything from a few other people up to maybe 50 or 60 other test takers, depending on the location of your test. You will be in an individual booth with just a computer and a headset on. Once you've registered with the staff and you've received all of your instructions, you enter your PIN and you press start.
Once you start, the test does not stop for any reason, including if you leave for a bathroom break. So make sure you don't leave for a bathroom break during the listening, reading or speaking sections, as the questions are timed and the test will continue running, so you'll miss a lot of questions. You have a lot more time during the writing sections, so you may be able to afford a 2-minute bathroom dash. Although with it being a computer-based test, you're not allowed to take anything in with you, including a bottle of water.
It begins with the listening test, which lasts between 47 and 55 minutes, depending on whether you need all the time for each question or you skip to the next question before the time is up. There is 1 practice question, and then the test itself is split into 6 different parts, based on different types of situations and different conversations. You will have to listen to a passage of around 1 to 2 minutes long, and then answer a series of questions on the passage by clicking a choice from a drop-down menu, multiple choice. Be aware that you will only hear each passage once, so listen carefully and pay attention to any details such as people's opinions, any directions, what the problem was, perhaps what they plan to do next, things like that.
Part 1 is 8 questions on listening to problem solving. Part 2 is 5 questions listening to a daily live conversation. Part 3 is 6 questions on listening for information. Part 4 is 5 questions on listening to a news item. Part 5 is 8 questions on listening to a discussion, and Part 6 is 6 questions listening to viewpoints.
Here are some examples of what the question format will look like. Once the listening test has finished, you will move on to the reading test. This is between 55 and 60 minutes long and consists of 38 questions across 4 topics. There is 1 practice question, then 4 sections covering 4 different types of text. Part 1 is 11 questions on reading correspondence, a letter from someone and a reply. Part 2 is 8 questions on reading to apply a diagram, generally a flyer or a leaflet or something similarly informative. Part 3 is 9 questions on reading for information, understanding which information can be found in each paragraph of a text. And Part 4 is 10 questions on reading for viewpoints, so reading an article and understanding the people's opinions in that article.
Here are some examples of what the question format will look like. Next comes the writing section, which consists of 2 tasks that you have 53 minutes to complete, 27 minutes for the first task and 26 for the second. In the first task, you have to write a letter or an email and maybe write in to complain about something or to ask for more information about something, for example. You have to write between 150 and 200 words and will be given a few prompts about what to write, such as describe the problem, explain how you heard about it, or ask what they are looking for. In the second task, you will have to respond to a survey question by first choosing which option you agree with and then explaining the reasons for your decision in 150 to 200 words. Although the content and subject matter are always different, the 2 tasks are always the same: writing an email and responding to a survey question, which makes practicing for it so much easier.
Which brings us to the final section, which is speaking. If you have ever done a language test before, it may come as a surprise to learn that you don't actually speak to an examiner. It certainly surprised me. You read all of your prompts on screen and speak directly into the microphone when told to start speaking. This of course means that there is no conversation aspect to it. It is simply you speaking, monologue style, for the allotted time. The speaking part is 15 to 20 minutes long and consists of a practice task followed by 8 different speaking tasks. For each section, you are shown the question and given 30 seconds to prepare your answer, which you can use to jot down any notes or ideas if you wish. You will then have 60 or 90 seconds to record your answer.
Task 1 is giving advice to someone. Task 2 is talking about a personal experience. Task 3 is describing a scene from a picture you're looking at. Task 4 is making predictions about what will happen next from the picture you just looked at. Task 5 is comparing and persuading, where you will have to choose an option from 2 possibilities and are then given a third option, and you have to persuade someone that your choice is the better one. Task 6 is dealing with a difficult situation, such as explaining why you can't do something or deciding what you want to do when your friends disagree. Task 7 is expressing opinions, where you have to state your opinion on something and explain your reasons for it. And the final task is describing an unusual situation, where you'll be shown a photo of something going on that is odd or bizarre for various reasons, and you have to explain the scene to someone.
Once your time is up on the speaking section, the entire test is over and you will be asked to raise your hand to an examiner and leave the room. We would advise you to make sure you fully explore the CELPIP website, as it has a huge amount of information, including test centre locations, free practice materials, preparation courses, webinars and workshops, and a lot more. You can also book a test on there, find out exactly what happens on test day, and understand when you will receive your results. Practicing your English is of course extremely important, but equally important is familiarising yourself with the test format and the types of questions you will encounter. If you are familiar with the topics and the types of questions, it will make it so much easier for you to prepare with regards to vocabulary, grammar, and style. Personally, it's quite difficult for me to give an opinion on which one is easier, as English is my first language. The IELTS is all paper-based, which means you can go back and you can change things if you want, but it does involve a lot of writing, and you can't move through it at your own pace if you finish earlier. If you are done with half an hour to spare, you just have to sit there and listen to everybody else scribbling for half an hour. With the CELPIP, I like that you were completely independent and could skip to the next question if you were finished. So overall, I think I preferred the computer-based format.
Let us know if you are planning to take the CELPIP, or indeed if you've already taken it, and best of luck with the language test aspect of your immigration journey. Hit subscribe, see you next time.